Good morning. Welcome to this morning service. Sorry we were starting a little late, but hopefully we'll be able to get back on track again. Good morning. We'll begin this morning service. If you'll please join in the reading of Sambujo, followed by the reading of Juseige. We'll begin this morning service. If you please join the reading of Sambujo, followed by the reading of Juseige. Begin this morning service. Please join the reading of Sambujo, followed by the reading of Juseige. Begin this morning service. Please join the reading of Sambujo, followed by the Juseige. Namanda, 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 namanda. Shima Shingna Pamanzo Seif Joshonga Ma Om Ryoko Pa Inai Se Shu Pa Sai Sho Bing He Seif Joshonga Ma Shi Jo Butsuno Myosho Cho Jippo Pekyo Mi Shomon Seif Joshonga Niyoku Jin Shonen Yo Esho Bongyo Shingam Jodo Isho Tenin Shi Jin Nikien Nai Ko Shom Saido Shoujo Sankumyo Osai Shuyakunan Aihi Chi Engen Meshik Pomoan Esong Sho Akundo Sadatsu Zen Shomon Koso Jomanzo Iyoro Jippo Nichingatsu Shujuki Tenko Ompugen Ishukai Hozo Oseku no Kuho Jo Nai Shuchum Semmo Shishiku Yo Isai But The Song Shu Tong Han Ran Ne Shitsu Joman Koku Isan Nai O Yobutsu Mugechi Tsunatsu Mi Pasho Rangaku Erik Oshi Sai Shoson Shinanya Koka Daisen no Kando Okusho Tenin Ovachimyoke
Okay, now let us read Golden Chain together. Hands together in Gassho. Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I'll be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. So I hope you are doing good. So today, I'd like to talk about why we hear the teaching of Buddhism in our daily life. So by the way, do you like to bowl? If you do know bowling, just in case, bowling is a target sport and recreational activity in which a player rolls a heavy ball toward the pins or another target. Then have you ever tried bowling, or have you ever seen your parents or friends bowling? It seems pretty easy, but actually it's difficult to strike the pins as we wish. I'm not very good at it, but bowling, but I like bowling. Please imagine if you throw the ball straight, how do you think the ball will go? Of course, the ball is supposed to go straight forward, right? But I don't know why. Mine is different. If I try to throw the heavy ball straight toward the 10 pins, it doesn't go straight forward at all. But the ball always curves to the unexpected direction, even if I don't intend it. I don't know why. It's really mystery to me. Yeah. When I bowl with my friends when I was still in Japan, I always wondered why the ball never went straight. Nevertheless, I threw the ball straight. So I always complained and believed that there was some trick with the balls or a floor to bother players from throwing straight. But one day, one of my friends told me that I didn't throw the ball straight at all. I thought I always made throw the ball straight, but she made me realize that I actually didn't. I realized that there was a big difference between my thought, which I believe I may throw the ball straight, and my reality, which I actually didn't throw the ball straight. I was a little bit shocked to accept it at first, but she taught me better form, and at practice with me, and thanks to her support, I was able to throw the ball in a better form. I have a question for you. Do you think you live straightforward? What would you answer to this question? Some of you might say, yes. I think I think I live straightforward, but Others may still wonder if you live always or really straightforward. I wonder how many people still can say yes. I can live straightforward without any hesitation when you sit in front of the Amida Buddha. Maybe nobody. Even me, I cannot say so. I believe Buddhism showed us the great hint to see how we live, how we work in this life. We have learned that there are 6 realms of existence in Buddhism, as hell, hungry ghosts, animals, ashra, human beings, and devas. It is believed that we have been repeating the birth and death or samsara in these 6 realms of existence. However, this is not only about the story after our death, but this is also about the story of our life, our life, and our way of living. I don't want to believe this, but our minds are always changing in these 6 realms of existence within realizing. My teacher in Japan told me that this is just like we are wandering around in the desert. Sorry. Imagine you're a traveler and you're wandering around in the desert alone. Even if you might try to work forward to the destination, you are gradually off from the route depending on your sense of directions. You might eventually come back to the starting point and wander around the same place forever. My teacher told me that yeah, this is just like my bowling skill. So I couldn't throw the ball straightforward without realizing my bad form. But yeah, so my teacher taught me what the birth and death or samsara is like through this story. In other words, birth and death is that you cannot get out from the same route or turbulence of sufferings without realizing we are wandering. I believe our heart may be calm now because we are touching Buddha's wisdom and compassion at this Sunday service. However, once after this Sunday service and going back to our normal life, how are our hearts going? Maybe we sometimes get excited by something, hurt someone with our words or behaviors, get angry at someone or look down on someone, just like the beings in the 6 realms of existence. I believe not, but we cannot help wandering around in the 6 realms of existence as long as we live in this life. When we live in a daily life, our minds are gradually off to the self-centered directions, moment to moment, when we rely on our own perspectives, which is far away from the calm heart when we place our hands in front of Buddha. Without realizing this, our life might sometimes go to the unexpected and crazy direction, just like wandering around in the desert. That is why we need a time to know where we are and how we live in this life. And then we will gradually get our life back on the track through hearing the teaching of Buddha. Again, do you think you live straightforward? I hope so. But maybe our life may be bumpy road. Maybe we sometimes might have to experience difficulties, get frustrated at unfair things, and lose our way. But I believe Buddha always gives us the wisdom and compassion to lead us to right path in our life journey. Why do we hear the teaching of Buddhism? That is to know and check where we are in our life through teaching. whenever you are, wherever you are. We are always, we are not alone, but we are always included and guided by the Buddha's wisdom and compassion up until now and from now on. Thank you for listening. So I'd like to conclude this Dharma talk with Kansho. Please join me in Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Mikame Sensei. Next week, we will have our regular Dharma school service at 9:30. But from 10 o'clock, we will try to bring the Buddhist Churches of America National Taikyo service, which will be conducted via Zoom and streamed through YouTube. This year, the National Council meeting is being held remotely. So all of our activities are being conducted through Zoom. This past Friday, we had our Ministers Association meeting, and yesterday we had workshops throughout the day. And beginning next Friday, we'll convene the National Council meeting and then continue through Sunday, concluding with the Taikyo service and some activities that will recognize Bishop Umezu's contribution for his services, in his services to the Buddhist Churches of America. We will try to bring that to you. I'm not sure if we will be able to do that, but in any case, we will have our 9:30 service, and hopefully at 10 o'clock, be able to join the National Taikyo service. This year, the National Council meeting is hosted by the Bay District. So the Bay District ministers have been working on this Taikyo service for quite a while. So please do plan to join us. Hopefully we will not have as many problems as we have been having this morning. We had extra music. I didn't know where that was coming from. Kind of figured that out. And we were having echoes. And again, I apologize for that. But we hopefully have that figured out as well. Again, thank you very much, everyone. Please be safe. As we conclude, will please join in Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning service. I hope you're all doing well. This morning, I will begin with the reading of Sambujo and the reading of Juseige. So if you please join in Sambujo and Juseige. Namanda, 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 namanda. Betsuin Myasha Kakyami Shaman Sambujo Juseige Kansho Jaeshamanya Shikama Ishatenin Ship Jinnikien Naikwa Bashama Saindo Shojo Sankumyo Osai Shayakunan Kaihichi Ege Meshikwamaan Esong Shoakundam Sanatu Zen Shaman Osa Jomanzat Iyara Jepam Nichingatsu Shajaki Denkwa Ompegen Ishakai Hosa Osekwanakuho Jo Odaishaja Semmashishikwa Aya Isaibat The Song Shatakuhan Aneshitsu Jaman Koku Isangnai O Yamatsumagejim Sabatsumifasham Mamnakwa Erik Oshisai Shoson Shinanya Koka Daisen Okando Koka Shotenin Kowachim Yakim Shikwa sai do na yishin wa jo Namanda, 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 namanda. Again, good morning. Welcome to this morning service. This morning, we have as our guest speaker, Michael Jones, who has been minister assistant for nearly 2 years, along with our other minister assistants, Dennis Akizuki and Sumi Tanabe. Dennis and Michael will be completing their 2-year course in the Jodo Shinshu correspondence course in a couple of months, but hopefully they are having fun studying with the Jodo Shinshu correspondence course. But this time I'd like to invite Michael to please join us, and hopefully everything will work as planned. Michael?
Morning, Sensei. Thank you.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So why don't we start with the 3 treasures? So please join me with the 3 treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves into the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from the suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the 3 treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everyone, and good morning again. I hope everyone is doing well. As I start this Dharma message, please join me in Kansho. When we know the art of how to suffer, we suffer much less. We are able to make use of the mud of our suffering to grow lotuses of love and understanding. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Well, good morning again. And you know, I was thinking as Reverend Mikame was delivering her message, though she corrected her pronunciation, I think she had it right the first time. I think I've been wandering around in the deserts over the last year, and that's been to my disadvantage. So not only the desert, but also all those deserts. So hopefully we'll get out of this soon and get back to our regular eating habits as well. So, we frequently talk about the Four Noble Truths: suffering, the cause of suffering, the fact that there's a remedy for that, and the remedy is the Eightfold Path. But we learn through repetition, so covering the subject to some degree again can be helpful. We all have things which we believe to be true. Think first about how we learn these things are true. These can be things our parents told us about, lessons from school, things we heard from friends, what we've read in a book or a magazine, something we saw on TV or in a movie, or even the things we've heard from one of our sensei right here at the Betsuin. So first, let's consider the source. People teach us what they know and what they believe to be true based upon their own experience, their intake of written materials, lessons from people around them, or from the myriad of other sources we've already mentioned. Once they read, heard, or experienced these lessons, the facts of the lessons pass through the filters made by the experience of those people. Those filters tend to weed out what they consider to be extraneous materials, random facts, or other things that just don't fit the way their way of thinking. As they learned these things, they would probably have evaluated the points raised and thought things like, well, that seems reasonable. I've heard that before, so it makes sense. Or they may have thought, where did they get this crazy stuff? Who would believe this? That's not the way it is according to, well, fill in the appropriate name here. My dad, my friend, Kelly, my teacher, Yoda, whomever. Not only did the human sources for the information we've provided filter the information, they even decided in some cases to validate or invalidate the information based on how it agreed with a trusted source, even if the expertise of that trusted source is not the subject not a trusted source in the subject at hand. So we already are dealing with information that has been filtered, edited. Now there's the listener or reader, that's us. When we're very young, we take in everything we're told pretty much as fact. But as we grow up, we start doing something very dangerous. We begin thinking. We start evaluating what we're seeing, reading, hearing, and we evaluate it based on our own filtering conventions and logic. We go through many, all, or more of the same patterns that our sources did. Where does this leave us? Now the information on which we are basing our decisions, our opinions, our votes, have been distorted at least twice by well-meaning but somewhat non-discriminating filters. One of the many reasons we use textbooks in schools is so that we can deliver consistent information to students around the country. Allowing our teachers just to pass along the tales of historical events off the top of their heads could result in limited match with actual history. My point in all of this is that we based our views and opinions on the same streams of information, whether we are students in school or adults watching the news, reading books, or chatting with friends over Twitter. Well, not you. I know, because you don't waste your time on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or any of those other gossip hubs. But now let's look at how we handle the information we receive and what we do with it. All the things we learn and experience, all the things we read, hear, and see go into our minds, and we begin to shape those into values and beliefs. Those values and beliefs now become the filter through which we take in new information. Then we use that self-filtered information to decide what to do about what we've heard. Our decision-making is based on what we have learned and experienced. So we build our beliefs and establish our values, all using information filtered by past experience and with a mind that has already established a self-made decision process. Once we establish or reestablish a set of beliefs and values, we immediately become attached to those beliefs and values. There's one of those catchwords in Buddhism, attachment. Once we get attached to something in our heads in this Western culture, we may even begin to establish a level of pride regarding our beliefs. We might associate our beliefs with thought leaders, political parties, celebrities, authors, or any number of people and organizations that we believe elevate our stature because we share some common beliefs. And yes, I did say Western culture. I realize that most of you listening are probably Japanese American, but since most of you are at least third generation Sansei, I would argue that you are likely to be culturally more American than Japanese. And the only reason I mention the Western culture is the fact that in the Western culture, we tend to be more individualistic, more prideful regarding our knowledge and beliefs. I just finished reading a book by Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game. Most people would classify this book as a business book, and it certainly applies. But I think what the author lays out is good for all of us. He describes the difference between finite and infinite games. A baseball game is a finite game. There are rules. The players each have their designated roles. There's a scoring system, a set time allotted for the game, and a way to determine who wins and therefore who loses. An infinite game has no obvious time frame. Roles can be dynamic. Rules may be hard to come by, and not everyone plays by the same set. Our lives are finite. However, life is infinite. You can't win or lose at life. To play an infinite game, you have to have a cause. This cause may never be fully realized because rather than aiming to be the best, you're driven to be better and better, never the best. We have cute phrases to make fun of our own attempts to turn life into a finite game. Things like, "He who dies with the most toys wins." Have you ever heard that one before? Do you know anyone that lives by that rule? I know I used to think along those lines, but I've learned through my study of the Dharma, through being part of a caring Sangha, that life has no winners, nor does it have losers. Our infinite game is getting better at seeing the world as it really is, seeing ourselves as we really are. To borrow a phrase from a business leader I know, our goal is to see the truth is to be better, but never done. Our cause is to see that truth. We get attached to our ideas and beliefs, but what is the one of the primary truths that Buddhism teaches us? Everything changes, impermanence. Just because it is the way it is today doesn't mean that it will be that way tomorrow. Even if you were even if you're under 20 years old, you've seen drastic changes in societal values and beliefs. Just 15 years ago, think of the year 2006. Could you imagine back then having a Black president of the United States? Could you have imagined a female vice president? Could you have imagined LGBTQ community members serving openly in the military? How about an LGBTQ community member being in the US cabinet? These are huge steps for a society to make. As members of the society, we are part of the collective mindset that had to change. Our views had to have a level of impermanence about them. Our values had to be either broad enough to encompass these changes, or they had to be malleable enough to adjust them. What is interesting is that the reason things seem to be changing so quickly is that everything is related. Everything is connected. There's another of those basic Buddhist teachings, interconnectedness. Our society operates the way it does because of all the things that come together to create the causes and conditions to make today's reality possible. Everything is connected, creating the reality we know today. This is a different reality than what we knew just 15 short years ago. And everything is undergoing constant change, which is what made it possible for the reality of 2006 to become the reality of 2021. Were all of these changes good? That's a different Dharma message for another day. A reality that we have had to deal with over the past year has to do with the global pandemic. Has there ever been any other time in your life that's tested the boundaries of your compassion the way this pandemic has? We've experienced millions of people being sickened, hundreds of thousands of people dying, millions losing their jobs, families not allowed to be at the bedside of a dying mother, a sister, or a daughter. Maybe some of us have been too caught up in our own unhappiness to notice the impact on the people around us. But if you do not understand the meaning of interconnectedness before, it should be pretty clear now. Simply being in the same room as an infected person could result in others in that room becoming ill, dying, passing it along to others, and some of the others dying, passing it along to frontline health workers who pass it unknowingly to other patients, and the cycle grows. That is interconnectedness on a human and global scale. The pandemic has changed our definition of safety. It's changed the way we work, the way we play, the way we visit with our extended family and friends. To understand these things and how they come together is wisdom. It is actually not terribly difficult if you allow yourself to take advantage of the beginner's mind. You just need to open yourself up to the idea that the way that you came to your current beliefs and values was through others, and the messages were filtered by both their previous experiences and your own. Allow yourself the flexibility to change, since you understand that everything is subject to change and everything is impermanent. We tend, particularly in my opinion, in the West, to fashion our beliefs and values with something that resembles concrete. It starts off as a flowing mixture that can conform to a pre-built space and shape, and once in place, it hardens into a solid foundation, ready to withstand anything that tries to disrupt it. But the trouble with things made from concrete is that to change them actually requires destroying them and starting over. I'm not sure what that looks like in human terms, but it doesn't sound fun. Instead, we should be forming our beliefs with something more like wet sand. Bring the facts and experiences together, the sand, water them with perspective and judgment, excuse me, and form them into a set of beliefs. When something changes, simply agitate the structure, add some more perspective and experience, and build a new set of beliefs. The new ones may not be vastly different from the old ones. For instance, the best man for the job becomes the best person for the job. We bring this man and woman together in marriage becomes, we bring these two committed and loving people together in marriage. Maybe this sounds too easy. My way of saying, relax, go with the flow. My wife loves it when I say, relax. Conceptually, it's that easy. But we're merely human, and this can be a difficult journey. But that is why we are all here together, even if only virtually, as we're Sangha. We're here to learn, to grow, and to help each other. You know, over the past few minutes, you've actually been taken on a fairly broad academic journey of Buddhist teachings. You've heard about impermanence, interdependence, codependent arising, dana or selfless giving, compassion, prajna or wisdom. You may not have even noticed. Growing and learning is a lifelong journey. Welcome to the path. Please join me in Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, namanda, namanda. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. Always a wonderful message. Good things to think about, to reflect on in this very challenging times. Thank you again for joining us, everyone. Next week, we will have a 9:30 service, our kind of regular Dharma school time. I forgot to mention that the Dharma school service, there's no classes next week, but there will be a Dharma school service. Following the Dharma school service, will be at 10 o'clock, will be the National Buddhist Churches of America National Council Eitaikyo service. The Eitaikyo service is a service that concludes the National Council meeting every year. And this year, Bay District is hosting the National Council meeting. But because we're under COVID restrictions, the entire National Council meeting and the Eitaikyo service is being conducted virtually. However, because they will be broadcasting that Eitaikyo service, we will try to bring that to you at 10 o'clock next Sunday. So if you would please join us for the 9:30 Dharma school service and the Eitaikyo service following that at 10 o'clock. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for your continued support and participation in our Sunday morning services. Appreciate all of you joining us at this time. As we conclude, will you please join in Kansho and then Betsuin. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.